Welcome back to the workshop and this episode of Odds and Ends. I'd like to share with you a few things that have been happening around the shop, some updates on the K&T and the Bridgeport. I also have a stack of new channel stickers to share. The channel also reached a very significant milestone, and I want to share a little information about that, as well as how you might be able to participate in that celebration. I received a number of new stickers that we need to add to the sticker board today. First new sticker is from Everett's workshop. Everett lives in Canada and had taken a hiatus a bit from making videos as he moved into a new house. But he's finally got his shop up and running again, so looking forward to seeing more content from Everett. Yuchol from Woods Creek Workshop sent me his sticker. Yuchol has quite an impressive shop. He recently acquired a Cincinnati tool and cutter grinder that has some serious bearing issues, and I'm looking forward to seeing how his rebuild on that works out. I have other interests outside of machining, and one of them I just like to learn, and one of the channels I've been watching for a while now is the Minnesota Millennial Farmer. Zach Johnson works his family farm in Minnesota and grows corn and soybeans, and the technology that goes into modern U.S. farming is just amazing, and I learned so much by watching his channel. There's a father and son's farm in Montana, not too far from where I used to live in Everett. The Welkers, they farm almost 10,000 acres of yellow peas and wheat, a lot of wheat. And they use some tractors that are very old. They're very vintage tractors, but they're huge. And the technology that goes into it it's just interesting. And they do a lot of fabricating their own equipment too, which obviously I have interest in. Another Minnesota-based family farming operation, Larsons Farms, they have a number of different kind of stickers, and this one right here I just love, because who hasn't taken a ride on the struggle bus from time to time? Next is Mick's workshop. Mick has quite a variety of different topics, mostly machining, but not always. One of the recent videos I really enjoyed is he did a coolant system for a Harbor Freight bandsaw. I thought that was really an interesting application. I recently became aware of Jim's workshop, his YouTube channel. I really love this sticker, giving a bit of an homage to the South Bend lathe logo. Jim does a lot of small engine stuff, but he certainly packs a lot of shop in a very small space. Next up is Aaron Engineering. Aaron is from Australia. I really like getting stickers from other channels that are not based in the U.S. It makes our little YouTube world a little bigger and a little smaller at the same time. Aaron is a shop teacher, so there's always something that you can learn from watching his videos. Here's a sticker from Steve Lang at Shark River Machine. Steve is semi-retired. Does some very interesting projects in the shop, but one of the other things that I like about Steve is, like me, we're both into railroad modeling. Another non-machining channel, Acorn to Arabella. Arabella is a wooden boat being built by a gentleman up in, I believe, Massachusetts, and the wood for the boat was cut down right there where he lives on his family's property. He milled it, dried it, and is going to be launching the boat in about a year and a half. And this is without a doubt the superest and fanciest YouTube channel sticker I have in my collection. Jeff is from Southern California and has quite a collection of machines. Some of them he stores in his driveway. Must be nice not to live with snow. This sticker is from Doug at Metalworks Machine Shop. Doug is another Ohioan like myself and has a really nice shop with a CNC plasma table to boot. And he and I both appreciate vintage machinery as well. We both have K&T horizontal mills. His looks a lot nicer than mine does right now. This sticker is also from overseas, from the UK, Stevie GTR Anything Garage. Steve does a variety of different projects in his shop. He recently added a quill DRO, which I found really interesting, to his vertical mill. Here's a sticker from Engineers Workshop. James is in Virginia, and one of the fascinating pieces of equipment that he has in his shop is a Kyrian Trekker 2D rotating head mill, rotary head mill. I've never seen anything like this, and some of the operations it can do are pretty impressive. Two more stickers from a creator in Australia, Tom Make Here and Waz Make Here. Same creator. Tom Make Here is fabricating and tooling and that kind of stuff, where Waz Make Here is focusing on restorations, like restoring old vices. Has really great content, production value is top notch. Only have room for one sticker here. This board's going to be filling up fast. When I originally got Mr. Pete's channel sticker, Tubal Cain, he and I corresponded about where I had my stickers made. And I gave him some information. And as a thank you, he sent me this really nice card and a picture that I will keep in my shop. Kimber is another Ohioan. He's on the other side of the state from me, but has a nice little home shop. His channel most recently has been focused on a restoration and some repair work on a big Pratt & Whitney lathe. I added a 3-axis DRO to the Bridgeport. This is a Ditron D80 DRO. I like the LCD screen on it. It's easy for me to read, and it has a lot of functions that you find on most modern DROs, like PCD and have functions. I think this is a little bit easier to read than your typical LED DROs. The DRO kit came with magnetic scales. I opted for the 5-micron precision version, which is about 0.2 precision, and I think that's more than enough for what I'm going to be using it for. I like to use my 3D printer to prototype parts before I make them out of the final material, and these reed head brackets were no exception. It gave me an opportunity to make sure everything was going to fit and then make adjustments where necessary. I still need to take some time to neaten up these cables and mount some cable clamps to the mill. Still needed to make a couple of parts for the X-axis Powerfeed. I went ahead and made a stop rod connector here that connects the handle to the stop rod, as well as some intermediate stops to set the limits of the Powerfeed. I was going to do a full video on how I made these, and everything was going well, but there was one part of it that I thought was really cool that I forgot to click record. So instead of making a whole video, I figured I would just show you a couple of clips and how the Powerfeed is working now. You might recall from a previous video on the Bridgeport rebuild that I was having issues with the motor starting if it had been set to a very high RPM because of limitations really with the static phase converter. Well, I'm happy to say that I have solved that problem. As you can see here, it is starting up just fine on that high RPM. And I solved that problem by installing a 10 horsepower rotary phase converter. I have enough 3-phase power now that will handle the mill, both the Bridgeport mill and the K&T. And if I ever decide to swap out the South Bend and get a up to 5 horsepower new lathe, then this will be able to handle it. As far as the K&T is concerned, I did do some upgrades on the electrical box. I put in a brand new modern contactor as well as a breaker inside the original electrical box. The original contactor, you can see here, the coil on it was bad. It wasn't staying engaged. And when I finally did get it to work, it started smoking. So I figured it was probably due to be swapped out. I did clean up the table a little bit. I took the vise off and cleaned all the chips out from underneath it. Doing little things here and there, like the oil reservoir for the ways. I took the cap off just to see how it looked in there, and before I put it back on, I went ahead and painted it. As you can see here, I've got the handles removed from the front of the machine. I'm going to get those all cleaned up. If you recall from a previous video, I was having issues with the saddle Powerfeed lever would not budge. I was successful in getting that straightened out. With some help from a K&T expert, I was able to remove the plugs on the bottom of the knee that hold these detent plungers in. The one on the right was completely rusted in place. So after flooding it with plenty of penetrating oil, a little bit of heat, I was able to fit a internal pipe extractor up inside the plunger and was able to hammer it out. And like I mentioned with the handles off the front of the machine, I'm going to go ahead and get them cleaned up. Getting all this ugly yellow paint off of them, I don't know who thought it would be a good idea, but it's hideous. I don't know if the orange was a previous color or if that was body filler. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with these, if I'm going to paint them or not, but at least they won't look like a beat up school bus. I ran new wires to the start-stop buttons and repainted the cover plate, and my son repainted the lettering so you could actually read them. The plastic lenses on the sight gauges were so stained you couldn't see through them. So while I was replacing them, I went ahead and painted the oil flow gauge as well as the cover plates. You might recall from my last odds and end video, I showed these Federal dial indicators that I got real cheap at a auction. I sent these off to MR Tool Repair, and Mark opened them up, fixed anything that was broken, lubricated them, replaced the crystals where necessary, and has them all working in tip-top shape. Unfortunately, this back plunger indicator was not repairable. The parts that Mark needed to fix it were unavailable. And here's Mark's card. I'll also put a link to his email in the description. This is the second batch of indicators that I've sent to Mark, and if I pick up any more at auction, they'll all be going to him as well. And speaking of auction, here's a small lot of end mills I recently won. These all appear to be brand new. Many of them are Niagara cutters, some small ones that I don't have currently, so it was nice to add them to the tooling. I like buying lots like this because they're small. I'm not buying 500 busted carbide end mills, but I'm also getting something that appears to be new and never used. I'll be keeping my eye out for more lots like this, and I'd like to try to find a decent indexable face mill and maybe a fly cutter to add to this. And since I had already won those end mills, it didn't matter if I were to put a bid on something like these import bore gauges. I think I got these for like $3. I recently surpassed the 1,000 subscribers milestone, and it's a big deal, I think, for just about any creator to reach that point. So I will be doing a 1K subs giveaway. I've got several things I will be giving away to several subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when I do post my next video, because it may be on what you'll need to do to win something in that giveaway. Well, that's it for this episode of Odds and Ends. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to all those subscribers that helped me get to that 1,000 mark. We'll see you on the next one.